Ladies and gentlemen, AnsleyD back at you. This Earth Day, on this Earth Day, I want to bring some more attention to mental health, mental well-being, different but related, and are both important. So I'm gonna chop it up on that, little different topics, some examples and things that's been going on in the world, society, in regards to mental health. Then you got your mental well-being, and of course they're both important, but there's some kind of difference to them if you just really think about it. And they're both are definitely important and need to be addressed. So mental health could be pertaining to somebody who's chemically imbalanced at that point. Um, their mental health sometimes is not feeding the right way. Sometimes they can't identify what's good and what's bad. And in terms of trying to identify what's good and what's bad, a lot of times the negativity tends to overweigh the positive. So with mental health and mental well-being, you have to really think about it as the same, but at the same time as different. So now, like I said, the mental health could be something, could be born with, could be something that happened during life, could be something that you experience through childhood, where that mental health was um, it was ruptured, or it got worse, or maybe you went through some kind of maybe a disease or something like that. So that's where one part of mental health could come into play, where people are not chemically balanced well, now I'm going to say the right way, but the typical way that it's supposed to be. But then we have mental well-being. I'm sorry, it's dark, ladies and gentlemen. Mental well-being, right? That means, for me, mental well-being is a regular person. You wouldn't think they have any mental issues, no mental institution, no mental hospital, whatever like that. But as society portray mental health as being bad, they don't seek out any kind of help with mental well-being. See, once mental well-being, you could be a regular person, an average Joe, going to your job, you going through your usual ups and downs of life, right? Damien, shout outs to you. Thanks for being on here, right? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're talking about mental health, mental well-being. And the reason I'm bringing up this topic, because we see a lot of things that's going on. We see shootings at colleges. We see people taking out their parents in order to try to get to the president. Like, what kind of stuff is that? We see people. Oh man, the other day, I came across a topic, not a topic, but what do you call it, an article. And the article was talking about a young man dismembering his own mother and basically living in the house with a dismembered body. Just so crazy stuff. Even in my own area, man, they got these videos going viral. This young man, I mean, not too young, but this man, he could have mental health issues because of the things that he was doing, but he was ripping up somebody's apartment and throwing toilets out on cop cars and throwing furniture out. Stuff like that has to be addressed. So you got your mental health and mental well-being. They're separate, but at the same time, they're related. But nobody really wanted to address it because of the stigma against mental health issues, right? But it's real out there, right? Because you have people acting up. You have to be aware of this as well. Even if you're not going through any mental issues, any mental problems, you have to be aware that other people could be going through mental issues and mental problems, right? So when I get back, I want to get back into this well-being now, because I need to get more clear of what I mean by mental well-being. So like I said, a regular person, regular 9 to 5, but things happens in life, right? Setbacks, downfalls, fall in your face, not able to get back up, fall in your face again. The obstacles, the different dynamics of life, substance abuse, mental health, mental well-being sometimes is disguised by people getting with substance abuse. So you got drugs, liquor, your hard drugs, your recreational drugs, all that type. But it all comes into play, right? Especially when it talks about mental well-being, because mental well-being is just a regular person who goes through different ups and downs in life, mostly downs, and the imbalance of how it's going and the adversity make people not act the right way. So you have your mental well-being. You can experience different things in life. Maybe you had some kind of something that happened in life that was very dramatic, that was very stressful. So then you get hit with that PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. And it's not just people who are in like the armed forces or people who are in the military and they come back from war and then they they go through these moments where they remember the incidents or they remember the situation or remember being at war or just all that. But PTSD doesn't just pertain to them. PTSD pertains to a wide variety of people. The average general population experience PTSD, especially a lot of people who live in the urban areas. Urban areas where it's clustered with people, where you have a lot of violence going on, maybe a lot of gun violence and things like that. People get affected by gun violence. So mental well-being, mental health is very important in today's time. Very important. Like you can just look at the news yourself. You can just look at the news and not even national news. Just look at your local news and see what's the things that's going on. I know my state. I don't even want to put my state out there like that, but a lot of things been going in my state recently. This young man recently, yeah, he's actually was. I think he was found guilty. Um, I guess he unalived his girlfriend. They had a kid together. Kid probably was under 1.5, 2 years old, not even. Kid been missing for years. He get found. They got him on camera leaving the apartment after the situation happened. He's saying it wasn't him. That these mafioso type, cartel type, whatever he was saying, came in and they was beating him up, and then they did that to his wife and all type of stuff, not taking accountability for his action. So you got to figure out what's the scenario with him. Is it mental health or is it his mental well being wasn't right? Right. Then we got the lady captive in Connecticut. Lady held her stepson captive for over 2 decades. Over 2 decades captive, barely eating, no nutrition, no support, no nothing. Just treating him like basically like it says, captive in Connecticut. He was just living with his stepmother. The father had passed away. She wasn't treating him right. In order for him to get some kind of help, he had to set the house on fire. Almost killed himself, right? Almost killed him, the stepmother, and I guess they said his stepsisters or something like that. But this all goes back into play with mental health, mental well being. And I come on here once in a while, once in the blue to talk about it. Hopefully I can like get some kind of, I don't know. I'm not looking for no recognition. I just want to spark something in somebody who probably is going through something and they don't realize that they're having some kind of mental health issues or even having a problem with their mental well being. Maybe it could be a mental health, it could be a mental well being, it could be something like PTSD. But either way, you should seek help. Seek help. And you don't have to seek help as like through no psychologist because maybe you don't want to go to a psychologist or because they say it's a shrink and you don't want to see counseling because it's a stigma against it, but it's really important, right? It's really important. Remember Bob Barker used to talk about it. Drew, what's his name? Drew on The Price is Right. Talk about mental health because it is important, right? Mental health. You go through different things in life. You got to make sure you check up on yourself, check up on others, be aware of what's going on within your mind, within other people's minds, and you got to do a checkup, right? You got to do a mental health checkup, mental well-being, because what happens is, right, you get into a sob story in your head, and that sob story gets sober and sober, and the more that sob story gets told in your head, and more negativity coming to their mind into that play. And that's what they say, like, I don't know, like some things I don't even want to say on here, but basically you gotta watch out because the devil could send its message and messengers in different forms, in different ways, and all type of things, different situation. But God will give what you can handle. God is good, but we have to definitely check up on our mental health. And I'm gonna come on here. I'm coming on here more often. Y'all gonna get sick and tired of me. I'm probably gonna unsubscribe, but I'm gonna talk about mental health, mental well-being more and more because it's just what I'm seeing going on in the world, and just by talking to people, like I don't know, like I should have been a psychologist or psychiatrist or something. Because it seems like a lot of people tend to come to me to like talk about their problems or just get to let loose or get it out type stuff. And I try to give advice. I'm not the best person. My life is not perfect. My life is twisted, right? My life is twisted. So hopefully through my experience, somebody else can get some nuggets, some jewels, or something like that, and hopefully their life won't be too twisted or stuff like that from learning from my experience, my mistakes, my battles, my ups and downs, my adversity, right? That I'm willing to share and how people can overcome certain things. And one of the main things is that mental health, right? Now, how do we check our mental health, right? Of course, you have to do a self checkup. You have to do an audit on yourself, be aware of what's going on, right? Then you start to find solutions to the problems. You go out and you work at it and you keep a healthy mind. Well, you try to keep a healthy mind, body, and soul, right? But yeah, man, check up on your mentals, check up on other people's mentals. Try to do your best to have positivity in your life, right? And get over them negative ideas and the negative connotations, the negative thoughts. Don't dwell on negative experience. Just try to live your best life, right? All right, y'all. I'm about to hop off of here because I'm about to do some errands. I'll talk to y'all later. All right, peace.